Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda.
Hare Krishna, welcome to your favorite channel, Bhagavad-gita. Here it is, because we are reading Bhagavad-gita as it is, the translation and commentary by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and my name is Labanga Latika. We have entered into the 5th chapter, which is called Karma Yoga, Action in Krishna Consciousness, and I probably say that to all the chapters, but every time I come to a chapter, that's the way I feel about it. This is one of the key points of Krishna consciousness, the thing that makes it not just a nice philosophy, but something that we can actually apply in a very practical and simple way. And I will read text 6 here. Sannyasas tu mahabaho dhukamaptu mayogataha yoga yuktum munir brahma nachirenadhigachati. Merely renouncing all activities, yet not engaging in the devotional service of the Lord, cannot make one happy. But a thoughtful person engaged in devotional service can achieve the supreme without delay. So that's what we want. We don't like delays. If we go off for traveling and we come to the train station and the train is delayed with a few hours, a source of unlimited frustration. So, hopefully, by the time we're here in the 5th chapter, we have come to the point where we think, yes, I think this human form of life is the perfect opportunity for spiritual realization, and I think I want to reach for that perfection. Then we don't want any delay. We can be very tolerant, of course. We're tolerant with the situation around us. We're tolerant with the fact that we are no longer perfect, but we don't want unnecessary delays. So this is the description how our devotional service can be effective without delay. Purport. There are 2 classes of sannyasis, or persons in the renounced order of life. So I think we spoke about that previously as well. In the Varnashram society, we have the Varnas, which is more your nature. You can in general we find Brahmanas are teaching, they are simple, they are austere, they are all about spiritual life and knowledge. Kshatriyas are powerful, intelligent, protective. They are protecting people in their jurisdiction, so to speak. And the Vaishyas are feeding everybody. They are creating the wealth and the food and all of that. And Shudras, that's the rest of us who are working in the organization of one of the other groups, who are not, self-organizing, self-propelling in society. The ashrams are the stages in life, and in general in a Vedic society, and even in any society, children start out, they are very simple and they learn things. So we have brahmacharis, they live in celibacy, they are obedient, and they are training their character, and also of course knowledge, but very much focus on character. Grihastas, they have the family life, they have the responsibilities, they have things and they give things. They have wealth, they give charity and gifts and so many things. And then Vanaprastha is like a medium stage where you turn down the material side and turn up the simplicity and spirituality in your life. And then the end stage is sannyas, which not everybody may go there, because it's a very, sannyas, it means the renounced order of life. You give up everything material. And in society you're considered dead. You have no obligations, you have no connections, you are just living for a spiritual life. And here we hear of 2 classes of sannyasis then. The Mayavadi sannyasis are engaged in the study of Sankhya philosophy, whereas the Vaishnava sannyasis are engaged in the study of the Bhagavatam philosophy, which affords the proper commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. The Mayavadi sannyasis also study the Vedanta Sutras, but use their own commentary called Shariraka Bhasya, written by Shankaracharya. The students of the Bhagavata school are engaged in the devotional service of the Lord according to Pancharatri tricky regulations, and therefore the Vaishnava sannyasis have multiple engagement in the transcendental service of the Lord. The Vaishnava sannyasis have nothing to do with material activities, and yet they perform various activities in their devotional service to the Lord. But the Mayavadi sannyasis, engaged in the studies of Sankhya and Vedanta and speculation, cannot relish the transcendental service of the Lord. Because their studies become very tedious, they sometimes become tired of Brahman speculation, and thus they take shelter of the Bhagavatam without proper understanding. Consequently, their study of the Srimad Bhagavatam becomes troublesome. Yeah, I want to pause somewhere in this paragraph, because I have heard these things because Prabhupada brings them up again and again, the differences between the Mayavadi approach and the Vaishnava approach. But still I feel I need to take a little pause and explain it a little further, because I cannot be sure that you have been following us from the beginning. So I will make a little break in the commentary and say some words. Vaishnava means a servant of Vishnu or Krishna, and Mayavadi means someone who considers spiritual personality to be an illusion. So in the Vedic studies, in the realization of the Supreme, there are three aspects: Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. And Brahman is that impersonal realization that everything is of a spiritual nature, and everything that is not of a spiritual nature is temporary. And that's a conclusion we can reach actually with our own logic and intelligence, because it is quite logical. And by applying different Vedic processes, one can also come to that realization. But realizing the Supreme means more than that, because the Supreme is not just a unified spiritual concept or oneness that we are all part of. If we come a little further, if we go a little deeper, we will also find spiritual personality. It's a little bit like math. When we start math, we learn 1 + 1 is 2. Of course, 1 + 1 is 2, 2 + 2 is 4, 2 - 2, 4 - 2 is 2. But 2 - 4, we cannot do that. That does not exist, because we are on that level of mathematics that we can understand the beginning. So that will remain true. That beginner mathematics will be true even when we do advanced mathematics. When we come a little bit further, we start to deal with negative numbers, and then we find that we can easily subtract 4 from 2. We just have to use another understanding of our numbers. And similarly with spiritual life, to start with, we can understand two basic things. There is spirit and there is matter. And they are different. And everything we see in this world of personality, activity, objects, and so on, they are all material. And that which is spiritual is above and beyond that. And that is certainly true. But when we come a little closer, when we gain a little deeper understanding of that which is spiritual, we find that there is also spiritual personality, spiritual activities, spiritual existence that is dynamic, and where there is an exchange between person, and where Krishna is the supreme person, and therefore Bhagavan is the complete and ultimate realization of Brahman, of the supreme spirit. And therefore Prabhupada, following in the school of the Vaishnava tradition, spent quite some time and puts quite some energy into making this differentiation, because it's easy when we start to be interested in spiritual life, and especially when we start to approach Eastern philosophy. This Mayavad school has become very widespread. And if we stumble into that understanding and accepts that understanding, it becomes a hindrance. It blocks our ability to access the full realization of ourselves as an individual spirit soul and of Krishna as a supreme spirit soul. And therefore, it's important to understand these differences, even if at times when we read this we're thinking Mayavadi, 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 where are all these Mayavadis? And then we find, even in our own mind, this impersonal concept sometimes come up to the surface, and then we understand Yes, the Mayavadis, they're all around us. So that's one reason why these examples come up quite frequently. So here that understanding is there, which makes Vaishnavism, Bhakti Yoga, service to Krishna, such a supremely practical process for spiritual realization, because we can engage in it. We don't have to wait for that time after many, many lives of very hard work, very strict renunciation, and very, very careful studies of the Vedas, where we can finally realize something. We can actually start something right now. The Vaishnava sannyasis who are engaged in devotional service are happy in the discharge of their transcendental duties, and they have the guarantee of ultimate entrance into the kingdom of God. So this is not just for the sannyasis, this is not just for the, the renounced monk in the last stage of life. Everyone can engage in spiritual activities in Bhakti Yoga, in Krishna consciousness. We don't need to wait to that faraway point where we are already perfect. This is the process that we can practice to become perfect, and it's also the process we will continue to practice when we become perfect, but then we will relish it on a deeper level than what we do now. The Mayavadi sannyasis sometimes fall down from the path of self-realization and again enter into material activities of a philanthropic or an altruistic nature, which are nothing but material engagements. Therefore, the conclusion is that those who are engaged in Krishna consciousness are better situated than the sannyasis engaged in simple speculation about what is Brahman and what is not Brahman, although they too come to Krishna consciousness after many births. Yes, so here Prabhupada is being generous, because it is true, if we engaged in the impersonal path of the Vedas, which we generally don't call Mayavad, we call it Brahmavad, the path to Brahman, to realizing Brahman, because then we are engaging to the best of our ability, according to the Vedic instructions, in realizing Brahman, even the impersonal aspect of Brahman, but we do not draw the conclusion that therefore now I am engaged in this Brahman path, and therefore those who are engaging in a personal relationship to Krishna, to Bhagavan, their realization is less. Their understanding is an illusion, and ultimately Krishna is an illusion, because when you start to draw those conclusions out of your Brahman studies, then you actually become quite offensive. It's like you entering into the project of realizing the Supreme, but then when the Supreme is presented to you, you say, no, not that kind of Supreme. I don't like you because I don't believe in you. I think you're an illusion. I'm picking the other Supreme, the impersonal Supreme. I just saw a funny little clip on the interwebs of a man in a church praying very sincerely to Jesus, and then this Jesus turns up and says, yes, my son, I have heard you. And the worshipping man is going, who are you? I said, I am that Jesus, you were praying for me. He said, but I didn't expect you to look like that. I thought you would look like that. And then there's a picture, which is quite common in our churches, of a very blonde and blue-eyed Jesus. And he says, but I'm Jesus, I'm from the Middle East. How did you expect me to look? Do you want me to bring white Jesus? And I said, yes, please. I said, there is no white Jesus. There's just me. I thought it was very funny. And it's a little bit similar if we are trying to realize the Supreme. And then Supreme, the Vedas reveal it, our meditation reveal it, and Krishna himself reveals himself to us when he becomes pleased with our devotion. And we're saying, no, we don't want you. You're an illusion. Go away. Let me realize that oneness. Then Krishna will withdraw. He will not show himself to us. But if we are just honestly working on that Brahman realization, and then gradually we come to a higher realization, then it will not be a hindrance, but it will not be a good idea, because it will be difficult, it will take a long time, and then when we come to the end of it, we will yet have to take up Bhakti Yoga to come closer to Krishna. So therefore, we can read Bhagavad-gita. 2nd chapter teaches us to be the spirit soul and not matter. 4th chapter teaches us that there is a difference between the individual soul and the supreme soul, Krishna. And here in the 5th chapter we learn what to do about it. So we're very fortunate. We haven't gotten very far, and yet we're so far ahead in our spiritual life. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for watching. We aim for updates every Tuesday and Friday. Please come back. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down there. We also have some links and information for you. And there is, of course, the subscribe button. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
I'm a Hare Krishna, and I approve this message. Subscribe.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.